Hi, boys and girls. This is lesson 15 homework. This is the last lesson in topic C, where we're comparing fractions and finding equivalent fractions. For this, we're going to find common units or number of units, which means numerators or denominators, to compare two fractions. And we know that we use multiplication for that. It asks you to draw an area model, but we decided not to do that because that's very cumbersome. And it is a visual representation, but we have done that for quite a lot. And we don't want you to spend your time doing that. We want you to understand that you're trying to find a common denominator or common numerator. And in the example, they're finding that the common denominator is 10 because 2 times 5 is 10 and 5 times 2 is 10. So we do 1/2 times 5, which is 5/10. 3/5 times 2 times 2, which is 6/10. And it's easier to compare 6/10 to 5/10 to 6/10. Okay, so 2/3 and 3/4. Well, I know that 3 and 4 both have 12 as a multiple. So you do need to know your multiples. You do need to know your facts. It makes everything more easy. So we do 2/3 times 4 because 3 times 4 is 12. 3/4 times 3 because 4 times 3 is 12. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 4 is 12. 3 times 3 is 9. 4 times 3 is 12. And I didn't do this part and I should have. So that means that 8/12 is less than 9/12, which means 2/3 is less than 3/4. We have 6 and 8, and I know that if I do the multiples of 6 and the multiples of 8, they both have 24. So 24. 6 times 4 is 24. So we do 4 6 times 4, which is 16/24. And 5/8 we multiply by 3, which is 15/24. And it should say, and again, this is where you don't copy me, but you look back at your problem set, it should say 16/24 is greater than 15/24, so 4/6 is greater than 5/8. We have 2/7 and 3/5. We could make the numerators the same because 2 and 3 both have multiples of 6, but I did the denominators. I'm just sticking with the denominators, but you can certainly do numerators to make it easier for you. Because if I change this, but I don't know if I can't change the fractions when I'm talking to you. But so I know that 7 and 5 both have 35 as common multiples. So 7 times 5 is 35. So 2 times 5 is 10. So that's 10/35. 5 times 7 is 35. So 3 times 7 is 21. So we know that 10/35 is less than 21/35. So 2/7 is less than 3/5. I found common denominators again because I know that 6 and 9 both have 36 as multiples. So 4 6 times 6, because 6 times 6 is 36. 4 times 6 is 24. So that's 24/36. 9 times 4 is 36. So 6 times 4, 9 times 4 is 24/36. Look at that. They're equal. Who knew? We have 4/5 and 5/6. And I know that 5 and 6 both have 30 as multiples. 5 times 6 is 30, so 4 times 6 is 24. 6 times 5 is 30. 5 times 5 is 25. So 24/30 is less than 25/30, which means 4/5 is less than 5/6. So we're going to rename the fractions as needed. So I have 2/3 and 2/4. Technically, do I have to rename them? They both have numerators of 2, so we're really just looking at thirds and fourths. So we know that 1/3 is greater than 1/4, so 2/3 is greater than 2/4. I did find common denominators, but you don't have to do that. We have 4/7 and 1/2. We know that 7 and 2 have a common multiple of 14, so 7 times 2 is 14, 4 times 2 is 8. 2 times 7 is 14, 1 times 7 is 7. So 8/14 is greater than 7/14, which means 4/7 is greater than 1/2. We have 5/4 and 9/8. I know that 4 and 8 have a common multiple of 8, so I don't need to do anything to 9/8. It's already eighths, but I'm going to change 5/4 into eighths. So times 2, which is 10/8. Well, obviously 10/8 is greater than 9/8. We have 8/12 and 5/8. I know that 8 and 12 both have a common multiple of 24. 12 times 2 is 24, 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 3 is 24, 5 times 3 is 15. So 16/24 is greater than 15/24. So 8/12 is greater than 5/8. For 8/9 and 2/3, I know that 3 and 9 both have a common multiple of 9. I don't need to change this. This is already ninths. I'm just going to change 2/3 into ninths. So 3 times 3 is 9, 2 times 3 is 6, but 8/9 is greater than 6/9. For this, 4/7 and 5/7, the numerators are the same. So we're comparing the unit fractions, and 1/7 is less than 1/5. So see how it's all coming together? We have 3/2 and 9/6. I know that 2 and 6 both have multiples of 6, so I don't need to change this. This is already 6, but I need to change 3/2 into 6. Excuse me. 2 times 3 is 6. 3 times 3 is 9, which is 9/6. Oh, they're equal. We have 11/7 and 5/3. I know that 5 and 3 both have multiples of 21. 7 times 3 is 21. 11 times 3 is 33. 3 times 7 is 21. 5 times 7 is 35. So 33/21 is less than 35/21, which means that 11/7 is less than 5/3. And I did go quickly, but you have to know your facts. You have to be able to do this, and it makes everything easier. And you needed to explain which method you prefer when you're comparing fractions, and you have to have an example with words, pictures, or numbers. So I prefer multiplying to find a common denominator. It's quicker and easier for me because I know my facts and my common multiples. So if I compare 3/6 and 7/8, I know that 6 and 8 have a common multiple of 24. So 6 times 4 is 24. 3 times 4 is 12. So 12/24. 8 times 3 is 24. 7 times 3 is 21. So 12/24 is less than 21/24. So 3/6 is less than 7/8. Okay, so again, yes, I went quickly, but this is the stuff where everything comes together, because our next topic is about adding and subtracting fractions. And to add and subtract fractions, they have to have a common denominator. So this is really important. And in order to do this, you need to know multiples, which you do if you know your facts, and you need to be able to multiply numbers, which you can do. So you have to use all of your information and knowledge that you have to do well. And I know you can. So have a lovely evening, and I'll see you in the morning. Bye.